what to barrier to PD and how to overcome them with Professor Dina Abdelatif.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, dear professors and colleagues. First of all, I'm not a professor. I'm greatly honored to be with you today, and thanks to the organizing committee for giving me this chance. I will start with introducing myself. My name is Dina Abdelatif. I work at Al Aini Hospital, and I have been privileged to have an ISN fellowship in the field of the peritoneal dialysis for 18 months with Dr. Martin Wilkie. And since I came back, and we have been so much motivated to start the PD program in our unit and in Egypt, but we've been facing too many problems. We're not successful yet, but hopefully we will be successful one day. So today we'll go through the barriers of initiating the peritoneal dialysis program and some ideas on how to overcome them. So to start with, over the year, peritoneal dialysis has proven to be simple, efficient, safe, and cheaper modality for renal replacement therapy, especially in the first years of dialysis. Peritoneal dialysis has the advantage of preserving the residual renal function for the patients. It protects patients from blood-borne infections. It needs no needling. It gives the patients the freedom to have their dialysis at home or anywhere they're traveling, so, or at work. Why do we need peritoneal dialysis? The prevalence of end-stage renal disease is increasing with a high demand on hemodialysis and transplantation. Transplantation is not always an available option due to the cost or due to the shortage of the organs. Patients living in rural areas may have difficulties in access to the hemodialysis units. Patients need freedom and time to work, to study, and to be productive. Patients with heart disease or hemodialysis access failures need another option. It's cheaper, or supposed to be cheaper modality than hemodialysis, where it helps minimizing the spread of viral infections as mentioned before. The prevalence of peritoneal dialysis differs substantially between the regions. The difference is not just due to medical factors, but also economic, and some of the dogmatic beliefs may have a role in this distribution. The patient choice of dialysis modality is an important predictor of the outcome. Each center should offer both the peritoneal dialysis and the hemodialysis to their patients in an unbiased way and give them the chance and the option to choose what really suits their lifestyle. In the regions or the centers with a high prevalence of peritoneal dialysis, the outcome of patients on peritoneal dialysis is at least as good as for those on hemodialysis. And the more patients they have, the more experience the staff are, and the less complications they get. So if we review the prevalence of the peritoneal dialysis worldwide, we find that the global distribution of renal replacement therapies in 2008, peritoneal dialysis, its share was really not up to what's expected, and it's only about 8% of the population. And still the hemodialysis is dominating with 70% prevalence. The prevalence of peritoneal dialysis in different regions, we find that Asia had the biggest share, followed by the North America, not the United States, and then followed by the rest of the world. If we go through the Arab world, we find that the peritoneal dialysis is increasing in the Arab world, and many countries are starting their programs. Like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, their program has been increasing over years, and over 10 years from the late 90s to the 2009, the number of patients of peritoneal dialysis has markedly increased from less than 200 patients to more than 1,100 patients. Qatar also has a well-established peritoneal dialysis program. They have about 20 to 25% of their patients are currently on peritoneal dialysis. Also, Sudan has initiated a program, a well-organized programs in Khartoum that was initiated by Professor Hassan Waisha, and they had 7 centers all over the Khartoum that were participating in this program, and they recruited more than 111 patients. By the time this article was published, which was in 2007, and I believe that they might have more patients right now on peritoneal dialysis. They were doing a great success, and they had, in fact, which was really approaching to the international guidelines. And this was featured. One of their patients was having a CAPD and still able to do his work in his farm. In Egypt, there were several trials. Mansoura University had they had about maybe 80 patients, but due to the lack of finance and lack of the funding, the number of peritoneal dialysis patients are decreasing over time. Alexandria also had some experience. Madrid Hospital have got some experience, and the Mansoura Institute also. And I assume that most of these hospitals, their programs are declining now due to the funding and to financial reasons. So what barriers do we get for the PD program? Our barriers are divided into two items, which is the healthcare system and barriers related to the patients themselves. If we start with the patients, there are some physical or functional barriers that prevent the patients from having peritoneal dialysis. It is having a lesion or scarred peritoneum, which prevents them from having or starting a peritoneal dialysis. This is the main and the only absolute contraindication for having a peritoneal dialysis. Other factors like age, comorbidities, inability to perform peritoneal dialysis, some mental barriers like dementia, mental retardation, training difficulties, makes it difficult for the patient to do peritoneal dialysis for themselves, but it's not an absolute contraindication because they can get help from their family, from maybe some nurses helping them doing the initial connections and disconnections of their lines. And the most important is the willingness of the patient. Some patients do not prefer to be left alone doing their dialysis. They prefer just to go to the hospital, put out their arms into the nurses and having the dialysis, or having a sleep till they finish their dialysis. The other category of problems is related to the healthcare system. It's one of the main obstacles to the initiation of peritoneal dialysis program. Nephrologists have some negative attitude for peritoneal dialysis, inadequate training for peritoneal dialysis, which makes them, gives them some fear of initiating the program, going to the well-known and well-trained hemodialysis. Nurses too have an inadequate training and negative attitude for the peritoneal dialysis, inadequate patient information, and inadequate patient training for the peritoneal dialysis. So if we discuss some of the nephrologist misconceptions for peritoneal dialysis,
And I had a lot of discussions with nephrologists since I came back, and it was all about dialysis and better outcome. Peritoneal dialysis has a very high rate of peritonitis. PD is only for patients who cannot undergo hemodialysis, patients with severe decompensated heart conditions, or patients with access failure. Lack of infrastructure, the extra space, the extra nursing, training for the nursing, and actually there is no senior ones who can train them, so even the training itself is not easily done. Where we have already a lot of hemodialysis accommodating most of our patients, so why do you actually need to introduce a new modality? Lack of adequate personal hygiene in some of the patients we face in our clinics. And some recent issues like the encapsulated peritoneal scoliosis, which might be a complication on long-term peritoneal dialysis, or PD that have an expiration date. So start with hemodialysis is more efficient than peritoneal dialysis. Lots of studies has shown that actually this is not the case, especially in the competent centers and competent areas. And many studies have shown that, and they suggested even that treatment dialysis may lead to more favorable survival in the first years compared to hemodialysis, because these patients with more residual renal function. Peritoneal dialysis compared with conventional hemodialysis is associated with equivalent or better survival in the first few years with respect to residual renal function.
So we have to clarify and emphasize that the CAD or the peritoneal dialysis the patients are using now has nothing to do with the old peritoneal dialysis we might have seen in old times, or the intermittent peritoneal dialysis that we have experienced, which has a lot of complications and has a very high rate of peritonitis. The new connections, the new lines we use now increase the incidence of the peritonitis rate markedly. The catheters is to be delivered by well-trained and experienced surgeons, or the nephrologists themselves can be trained to do it themselves percutaneously, which gives more easily access for the patients, and give them more experience to manipulate or to deal with the complications that might face them with the catheters. Prophylactic use of antibiotic ointments reduced episodes of excess site infections and peritonitis to a great extent. The use of lipodextrins, non-glucose containing solutions, the biocompatible solutions, decreased risks of complications to a great extent, and increase the power of ultrafiltration, even if the patients start losing more and more of their residual kidney function.
And there are other reasons or other barriers for not just the not just. If we look at this map, we find a prevalence rate in countries like the UK, United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, Denmark. It's ranging from 20% to about 40%. And these countries are, the dialysis there is paid by the government, or it's paid by the public services. Other countries like the United States, like Germany, like France, they have very low prevalence rates of dialysis. In these countries, the dialysis is paid by the private sector. So, whenever the private sector is paying, usually peritoneal dialysis is less prevalent than the hemodialysis.
And looking at other countries like Hong Kong and Mexico, they have peritoneal dialysis prevalence that reaching more than 70% and more than 80% in Hong Kong. So let's see what Hong Kong did to reach this high prevalence. Hong Kong, they adopted a model called peritoneal dialysis first model. In this model, all the patients who are starting peritoneal dialysis were first put, all the patients, sorry, who were starting dialysis were first put in their first years on peritoneal dialysis. Unless there is a contraindication for the peritoneal dialysis, they can start with hemodialysis. Patients were given the choice to choose between hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis, and in case they don't like the peritoneal dialysis and go for hemodialysis, the government will not reimburse for their dialysis, so they have to pay on their own. But if they go to the peritoneal dialysis, the government will reimburse their dialysis. And by this way, they really did a great job, and 80% of their patients were starting on peritoneal dialysis. So what do we need to start a peritoneal dialysis program? We need a dedicated multidisciplinary team. The team should have nephrologists, should have nurses, surgeons, dietitians, and social workers. A team that should be motivated, should believe in the value of the peritoneal dialysis, at least at the beginning of initiating the program, and to be able to face obstacles that they will see during their